Hello, souls and demons, and welcome back. Today's story is called Me and My Body, written by Seraphim663. And with that, sit back, grip your seats, and enjoy the show. I woke up with the worst stomachache of my life. It was probably something I ate from the raw bar. A mixture of bad oysters and cheap beer. Dialing work, I listened to the automated message and picked up the option for a full day absence, and left a voicemail for my boss. Today was going to suck, but at least I had sick time to sleep it off. I walked to the bathroom and threw up yesterday's dinner. I washed my face and looked in the mirror. My skin had a greenish tint with gray patches. Great. I would have to call the doctor about this. I had food poisoning. I dialed my doctor's office and waited on hold. But after 20 minutes, no one answered. Shaking with a river of sweat pouring from me, I hung up the phone and wrapped myself back in bed, and fell asleep into a deep, deep sleep. I woke up a few hours later and felt much better. I felt great, light, and effervescent. I went to the kitchen to make myself a cup of coffee, but my hand floated through my coffee cup. Desperately, I tried to grasp the cylinder full of Folgers, only to have it slip through my fingers. I had to be dreaming. I had some hangover, and this was all a twisted fever dream. A moan came from my living room. I tried to grab a knife from the kitchen, but my hand refused to grasp it. I crept carefully to see someone groaning and running into the back patio window. Perplexed, I observed the situation. Whoever this person was, they were pretty intoxicated. They were stumbling about the room and kept slamming into the window with a single-minded purpose. I went to the patio window and floated to the other side. The person looked exactly like me but had greenish skin. It rolled its eyes back, so only the whites were showing. Stop. The person glanced up at me, sniffing the air, and cocked its head like a confused dog. Well, if this was a dream, at least I had some control over the creature. Use the handle, I said. The creature stared in my direction with the same confused expression. I passed my hand over the patio window's handle. My hand floated through, but the latch wiggled a little. The creature grunted and pounded on the latch. My body slammed the sliding window so hard all the glass shattered, and it sauntered through to the other side. Damn it. There goes my security deposit, I muttered as I followed the creature outside the door. The cul-de-sac nearby had groups of people milling around, all sniffing the air, ticking with confused expressions. I floated around, wondering what on earth had happened. I remembered movies such as Night of the Living Dead and 28 Days Later. This couldn't be a zombie apocalypse. There was a horror marathon at the bar last night. This all had to be a hallucination. Yet there my body was, stumbling around with the rest of the zombies. I'm sure if I wasn't corporally challenged, I'd get a headache from frustration. I floated over to my body. Over here. It grunted and stumbled in my general direction. In the distance, a black door stood. I headed toward the door, calling my body along the way as it stumbled after me. I could touch the door handle. It was cool and made of polished brass. The door swung open with a bright light on the other end. A pull to go through on the other side and fade away forever. I glared back at my body, It was stumbling around cluelessly. Then, reluctantly, I shut the door. I couldn't leave this poor creature to fend for itself. It was utterly clueless without me. My body stumbled down the street as a man in military fatigues walked down the road. The man spoke into a radio and ran in the other direction. My body and the other zombies rushed after him at full speed. "Stop!" I screamed. My body stopped and pouted in my direction. "We don't eat people." The rest of the zombies rushed past us. The soldier screamed as the crowd tore him to pieces, his arms and legs being tossed high into the air. A portion rolled over to where my body was. The creature reached down and picked up the leg like a drumstick. "No, bad zombie." My body pouted at me. "No." The zombie pouted and chucked the leg aside, and shuffled after the rest of the zombies. I floated behind. A tank rolled down the suburban street, its cannon aimed at the crowd. "Duck!" My body grunted and cocked its head. I floated over and downward. Finally, my body nodded and lay flat on the ground as the cannon fired, leaving the ground littered with limbs. Floating over the side of the road, I called, "Over here!" My body followed me into a drainage ditch. "Lie down." The zombie laid flat as a fleet of tanks roared past, and planes and helicopters flew past us. Finally, after what seemed like hours, the caravan ended. My body stood and sniffed the air. It shuffled forward past the carnage. My once bland suburban neighborhood was a war zone. Blood and body parts littered the streets. I wanted to wake up to a blaring alarm. Yesterday, the worst thing I had to worry about was being late for work, and now there was nothing. The world was dying, and my body was content to shuffle through it. After half a day of stumbling under my frustrated commands, we came to a gas station. People huddled in the shop's corner. A little girl huddled in her mother's embrace. My body groaned and slammed against the glass of the store. "No, bad," I said, but my body ceased to listen. The little girl screamed. A horde of zombies joined and slammed up against the glass. "Y'all need to stop," I pleaded, but not one head turned. I took off as fast as I could float towards the caravan. I caught up to them at a surprising speed. I found the tank at the front of the line and concentrated on the engine. The lights inside flickered, and I could hear the soldier yell. I pressed buttons of the GPS to show them the coordinates of the shop. Both the soldier and the tank driver nodded at each other. The color drained from their faces. The tank turned course, and by the time they reached the shop, the mother and child were fighting off the zombies on the roof of the gas station. The tank driver sounded commands through his radio, and soon a helicopter flew overhead, dropping a ladder. The little girl clung piggyback on her mother as they both climbed up the ladder into the helicopter. Zombies soon overran the convenience store. My body was indistinguishable from the rest of the herd. A tank rolled up to the store, firing its cannon into the horde. The store exploded. Limbs once again scattered into the sky. My head rolled out into the street, muttering dumbly before the tank rolled over it, squashing it into a pile of gore and gray matter. Once again, the black door appeared. Sighing, I turned the knob and floated into the light. A warm voice boomed on the other end. "You are welcome here. Stay as long as you like." "There's not anything left to come back to," I sighed. "Perhaps not for humans. The few humans that survive will make the world better. The forest will return, and other animals will abound in millions. So you killed us all as punishment. Thanks. No, I killed no one. A virus hid deep within the ice of the world. The ice melted and evaporated into the clouds. The clouds rained the virus into the water supply. The very same water that made your ale the other night. I knew I shouldn't have gone to the raw bar. That aside, the world will reset itself. If you returned, you would not be human, but you would be part of the earth. After all, humanity is only a body. I suppose you're right. It was hubris to think that humanity is the world. The world will continue without us. I'm just glad I got help for that little girl before it was too late. Your soul is pure, and that is why you are here. After all, your body is but a shell and a bit of an idiot. Those were the last words I heard from the voice, before everything faded into a warm light.